of here, Craig said. Scooter looked at him, shaking his head as he scooped up jewelry and threw it into a bag. No, sorry, I don't think so. Even if I wanted to, and I don't think Quentin's ready to go. That was all too obvious, Craig thought, looking over at the other man. Already, Craig had figured out that while Scooter talked as if he called the shots, it was Quentin who really ran the operation, and Quentin wasn't all that fond of Craig, so he knew he had to be careful. There's gotta be a safe, so open it, Pops, Quentin was saying now. Sir, please, Craig said politely to Mr. Hudson, silently begging the old man to back down and do as he was told. Open the safe. No. I'll shoot you, you old fart, and don't think I won't, Scooter told him. Do it, the old man said. Come on, guys. There's a storm coming in, and we need to get the hell out of here before it does, Craig said. Why don't we just leave the old guy alone and get out of here? Told you that the kid was a mistake, Quentin said disgustedly to Scooter. Quentin was a big man, but not fat. He was pure muscle with small dark eyes, a bald head, and the shoulders of an orangutan. He was oddly fanatic in his dress. He liked to be neat, and he was fond of designer clothing. He was in his 40s, and despite his occupation, he was quite capable of speaking and appearing like a gentleman. Scooter was just the opposite, thin as a rail. He had a wiry strength, though, sandy hair worn a little too long, and eyes that were so pale a blue that they were almost colorless. Scooter was somewhere in his mid-30s, and Craig was becoming more and more convinced that he had some kind of learning disability. He often sounded totally vicious, but at other times his voice held the awe of a child, and he was sometimes slow. Craig was the youngest of their trio and the newcomer. He wondered just how odd he looked, joined up with the two of them. At 25, he considered himself in good shape, but, of course, the life he'd chosen demanded that he be fit. Bitterness at the past had made him work hard. He was blue-eyed and blond, like the boy next door. Quentin had liked that about him. What Quentin didn't like about him, Craig had never quite figured out. As they all stood there at something of an impasse, the store was suddenly cast into pitch darkness as a loud crack announced the splitting of a nearby power pole. Nobody move, Scooter snapped. A backup generator kicked in almost immediately, and they were bathed in a soft, slightly reddish light. In those few seconds, though, the old man had tried to hit the alarm. Craig could read the truth in his eyes and in the nervous energy that made him shake just slightly. Scooter saw it, too. You stupid old fool, Scooter said softly. The power was out, Craig said quickly. The alarm was dead. I don't give a damn, Scooter said. Open the safe, now! But Old Man Hudson seemed totally indifferent to his own impending doom. He even smiled. I don't care if you shoot me. Just open the safe, sir. What can possibly be in there that's worth your life? Craig asked. Quentin looked at him contemptuously. Look, you old fool, Quentin said to Hudson. He won't just shoot you. He'll make you hurt. He'll shoot your kneecaps, and then he'll shoot your teeny-weeny little pecker. Now open the safe. You must have insurance, Craig pointed out reasonably. He was stunned at Quentin's viciousness. Not that he knew the man well. This was actually his first real job with Scooter and Quentin. Before, he had been trying to pass muster. When he'd been taken along tonight, he'd thought he'd been cleared. And he had been, by Scooter. But Quentin was hard, and Quentin didn't like him, didn't trust him. Craig knew they'd worked with another guy before who hadn't been arrested and hadn't been found dead. He had just disappeared, and that was how Craig had gotten in. Well, he'd wanted in, and he'd gotten what he wanted, Craig thought, and swore silently to himself. This wasn't the way it should have gone, and now he was going to have to do something about that. Scooter still looked ready to shoot. The situation was rapidly turning violent. Craig reached nonchalantly behind his back for the Glock he carried tucked into his waistband. Before he could produce it, Quentin slammed him on the shoulder. You've got no bullets, buddy, he said softly. Craig frowned fiercely, staring at him. Quentin stared back, dark eyes cool and assessing. Were you planning to shoot the old man, or one of us? He asked. I took away your bullets, friend.